welcome to one of the most iconic race circuits on the Formula One calendar. It's tight, it's tricky, and there's absolutely no room for error. We're getting ready for lights out here in Monte Carlo. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today, though, ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. Joining me to talk you through the action today is Anthony Davidson, and give us an idea of what kind of thing you're going to be looking out for today.
Well, the big question for me is whether or not we're going to see the cars able to follow each other closely enough to overtake, especially through the fast sections here. Of course, we've got DRS, and that will help on the straights, but it's still no good if you're coming off the previous corner too slowly or too far behind.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Bottas, Max Verstappen and Hamilton, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Magnussen and Daniel Ricciardo, Stroll, Grosjean, Kimi Raikkonen and Perez, Van Dorn, Brendan Hartley and Marcus Ericsson, Alonso and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 5 of the F1 2020 Charles Leclerc mod career mode. We're back today for the duel in the Formula 1 crown. It's the race everyone wants to win, and more importantly, it is our home Grand Prix here today. Now, the real-life 2019 Grand Prix didn't quite go to plan for Charles Leclerc. Today, though, hopefully we can have some better luck. We start this race in P3 on the grid. Didn't quite get the lap I wanted hooked up in qualifying. I'm having some issues with stuttering around this circuit, so we'll wait and see as to how this race does end up going. But yeah, we start P3 behind my teammate and Alexander Albon. If you missed out on the last video, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It was quite a crazy race back in Spain at the end of the day, and it might set us up for a bit of a continuation of that story here in Monaco. But we're definitely going to require a lot of concentration here, so I think the best thing to do is just jump into this and see where we end up. 5 lights then on the grid here in Monaco, and it is going to be lights out, and finally away we go. Albon responding well to the lights. We get a fairly clean getaway. Is Albon going to be able to have a look around the outside of Seb through turn 1? Albon, I think, might be looking straight into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. There are a little bit of contact between him and Seb as we head up in through Casino Square. We're just trying to not hit the walls. Seb, though, holds on to the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. We try and have a sniff up the inside of Albon. Can't quite make that move work. Struggling a bit with understeer around this circuit as well. But we've survived the start. That's the most important thing. Yellow flags are out. Someone clearly has had a few issues of the start of this race. But yes, green flag racing once again though for everyone. So it appears everyone has made it through the start.
It's around you.
And we are still holding on to P3. Now we need to try and stick with Albon and Seb and settle down into a rhythm. Seb sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, obviously, at the end of lap 1. But we're still under quite a bit of pressure from Bottas behind. However, we do need to try and get up to Albon just up in front. It always takes a couple of laps just to get into it around this circuit as we go for a purple first sector. It's so difficult around here. You don't get a chance to sort of breathe. This is what makes the Monaco Grand Prix circuit such a great track at the end of the day. It's, yeah, not a particularly great race in terms of on-track action, but you cannot deny the spectacle around here. End of lap 2, though, we are all over the back of Albon, so we clearly have got the pace and pressure at the moment. New fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And I think, like I've said a couple of times so far this series, pit strategy could really define this race. Obviously, normally I go for the undercut. Don't think that's going to be a good plan here today. Track position is everything around Monaco, as everyone is already well aware. There's going to be a lot of cliches, I'm sure, in this video. Come on, Albon, get on with it. Really trying to apply the pressure down to Albon, but it's going to be much, much more difficult as we just run into the back of him there. It's going to be much more difficult to try and make the move work, unfortunately. We have now got the DRS. Albon does not on my teammate, which hopefully should help us out a little bit, but the AI is so good on the traction out the final corner. It's much easier said than done around this place. We'll continue trying to push. Yellow flag's out. Someone's clearly got issues. Who is that? Going slowly. It appears to be... I think that's a Haas.
Okay, update on the car.
Yeah, Grosjean out of the Grand Prix as Jeff just gets cut out. I don't know why he keeps trying to speak when we head into the tunnel. But yeah, Grosjean, the first casualty here in Monaco.
Give us the best in lap you can.
You can see just how much we take out of Albon on the end of the straights there, and we're just trying to hang on with him at the moment. If we can get past him on the road, that would certainly be ideal, but at the moment, I'm planning on trying to go for the overcut on him. Because there is no way Albon is as quick as us at the moment. We just got to try and keep our cool and don't get any damage.
Do we need to get past here? Use overtake. Use overtake.
Come on, we've got to run now. We've got a potential run in Albon as we head down towards turn 1. We're going to have to send it, get the nose at the inside. A lot of curb. I'm able to admit that was probably a bit cheeky, but we've made the move stick in the end. We didn't have to wait until the pit stop window. What is the gap to Seb at the front? Gap to Seb 2.6 at the lead of this Grand Prix. We need to start closing that down and try to go for an overcut on him. Because I think he's going to be pitting into this lap. So that's Seb into the pits. Seb's now into the pits. Now we've got to try and push.
In the pits.
We haven't got much in the way of rich reds. We do really seem to burn our own fuel around this circuit. But we've got one lap now to try and get the overcut on him. You just got to go all out attack. I apologise as well if the FPS is looking a bit choppy in the video. It's exactly how it is on the circuit at the moment. That was quite scary. Brushing the barriers. Down through the final corner, into the pits we go. Felt like an okay lap. Hopefully we can just stay out in the lead. Or at least no one get past in the pit lane. Yes, we've come out ahead of Verstappen. That was critical. I was worried Verstappen was going to get in the way. It looks like Seb has been held up by Mclaren on the timing. Oh, sorry, on the mini-map even, I should say. Where are we going to go?
Look after these
there is Seb.
We want to finish the race on this compound.
Seb's still going to be out in the lead, but we're not going to be far behind as we skim the wall on the exit of the pit lane. But we're ahead of Albon though, that's the most important thing still. We cannot afford to make the same mistakes that we did at Spain. If something goes wrong between us here, that could well be one of us out of a Ferrari seat. Halfway now through this Grand Prix, we're starting to get into a bit of a rhythm again. Starting to get into the swing of things. Gap to Seb is coming down ever so slightly. But luckily at the moment we're not sat all over the back of him getting impatient. Yeah, down to 1.2. Just got to keep going and not make any mistakes. Albon is right there as well. On course, finally, for his first podium in Formula 1 at the moment. And what a track to do it at, eh? But still, we want to win our home Grand Prix if any opportunity opens up. New fastest lap of the race.
That was the fastest lap
Exactly what we want to see. We're now all over the back of Seb. We're just basically pushing Seb along at the moment. We just gotta hope either that he makes a mistake, or we can try and get a run on him down the start-finish straight. We've got the DRS, as you can probably guess, because we're basically under his rear wing. Can we get the traction out the final corner? Come on, this could be a chance here. Seb's gone slowly at the final turn. We'll do the dummy on him. Into turn 1. Make sure we give him the room around the outside. We've only gone and done it. We're now up into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. I honestly wasn't expecting to get it done there. But Charles Leclerc finally leads his home Grand Prix. Could today be his day? 7 laps to go. We got it done cleanly on Seb this time. That's the most important thing. But we are running very, very low on fuel. Into the final 5 laps then of the Monaco Grand Prix. We're slowly building up a small margin over Seb, just in case we make a tiny mistake. But we're trying to be quick but careful at the moment. I mean, F1 recently obviously replayed the 1996 race where we saw a French driver in a French car win the Monaco Grand Prix. I think a monogas driver winning would be a little bit more special here in Monaco, and especially, you know, a prancing horse always make things a little bit more historic at the end of the day, but we've still got to try and drag it around another 5 laps here and try not to do anything stupid. This... Oy. As soon as I say that, that is exactly the sort of thing we can't do. So if we do that into pretty much any other corner, we're going to be eating an Armco barrier. Into the final 3 laps then of this Monaco Grand Prix. We're just doing everything we need to at the moment. Gap to Seb now to 3.5 seconds. We're still nicely in the groove at the moment. This is what I love about this place. Once you've sort of dialed it in, for me at least, I find it's such a satisfying circuit. Once you've just found that rhythm, you know, back, it was, well, all the way back when I did AOR this season, or last season now even, I should say, around this circuit. That race was incredible. Just once you work out where the walls are, you work out what the car can do. I remember, I think it was Senna used to say, you always get tunnel vision around here. And that's definitely sort of the mindset you've got to get yourself into. But, yeah, anyway, just over 2 laps to go then. We're just trying to bring it home at the moment, but still just, you know, in the corner of your mind, you think it can still go wrong. Can't start taking risks. Senna obviously learned that the hard way. Back in the late 80s, was it 89 I think it was, or it might have been 90? I can't quite remember for sure in all honesty. But anyway, yeah, 2 laps to go of this Monaco Grand Prix. Fuel's okay, ERS is absolutely fine, we're just not using that at the moment. Let's bring it home.
We're leading our teammate by 3.6 seconds.
Into the final lap then of the Monaco Grand Prix. What an interesting race it has been at the end of the day. Hasn't been the most action-packed in the world, but you're never quite going to get that at Monaco, unfortunately. We didn't quite start where I wanted. I was hoping for a pole position here, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Have we actually had a pole position yet in this series? I'm not 100% sure we have. No, China, I think, was at the end of the day. But this was always going to be the race you want to win in Formula 1 for any driver, and with it being a home Grand Prix as well, yeah, I think that adds up to a track that certainly you want to take home the race victory at. Half a lap to go here at Monaco, through the tunnel one final time. We managed to get past Albon nice and early on, just before the pit stop window. After the pit stop, slightly fresher tyres than my teammate Seb, and a lot more confidence. We got to the back of him, and we managed to get round in there, but down in towards the final few corners of this race. Right the curbs through the chicane one final time, down into La Rascasse, where it all went wrong for Charles Leclerc last year. Through Anthony Nogues, and down towards the start-finish line. It is going to be the home race victory here in Monaco. That is exactly what we need.
Fantastic. You've won the Grand Prix.
Here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Fermé. What a fantastic race it was. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, And they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
I'm going to say Brendan Hartley. It was probably one of his best drives this season, and I was thoroughly impressed.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.
So there we are then, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix, and finally, after last week's antics between Seb and myself, we get that one too, that personally I felt we did deserve at the end of the day. Fastest lap and the race victory. Didn't quite get pole position, but that's okay. You know, we got all the points that we needed as well. There, Seb comes through for P2, like I said at the end of the day. 5.3 seconds off us when all is said and done. And Alexander Albon, like I said, finally gets his first podium of his Formula 1 career there. Bottas and Hamilton, probably a bit gutted with that result, but it's not really a track that suits Mercedes. I think they can be happy that they still were able to finish ahead of Max Verstappen there. Sainz, best of the rest ahead of Ocon. Raikkonen doing a good job to get up into P9 from 13th on the grid, with the one-time race winner here, Daniel Ricciardo, finishing out in P10 ahead of Magnussen, Stroll, Kvyat, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Gasly, Russell, Giovinazzi and Latifi there, and Grosjean, the only man not to make it to the end of the race there. In terms of the championship though, we further extend our margin at the top. We've now got a one-race victory actually now over Lewis Hamilton there. That is exactly what we like to see. 25-point margin at the top of the table there. Bottas still in third place, Albon in P4 there, and that's actually the first time Bottas this season hasn't finished on the podium there, so his streak is over. Albon still in 5th, Vettel, my teammate, now tied with Verstappen in P5 there, with Verstappen now just behind him in 6th. Ocon up into 7th, jumping his teammate Daniel Ricciardo there. A fantastic return so far from the Frenchman there, and a very good result at the Monaco Grand Prix there. Magnussen still holding on in 9th. Sainz jumps Perez and Grosjean up into the top 10 there, and the only other mover was Lance Stroll there, beating Danny Kvyat. Still on no points between them, but now Stroll does have the better race result there. Both those guys, Giovinazzi and the Williams cars, yet to score points so far this season there. In terms of the constructors though, 1 point between ourselves and Mercedes. The title fight has certainly heated up after today's race there. Aston Martin, Red Bull falling away ever so slightly, but there's a long season still left ahead of us, and I'm sure they can claw those points back if they get some luck on their side there. Renault still holding on to P4 ahead of Haas. McLaren at jump Racing Point back up into P6 there. AlphaTauri in P8, and now Alfa Romeo have jumped Williams there, leaving Williams being now the only team with no points on the board. That is certainly going to be difficult for them to try and claw some points back. But there we are then, guys, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. A brilliant race for ourselves at the end of the day. If you guys did enjoy it, do make sure you get yourselves subscribed, and we will hopefully be back next time out. We've got a double whammy of street circuits. Next time we head to Baku.